Warning: some contents may be disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. The dark web is without a doubt the worst thing to ever happen to the internet. I used to think it was cool, a place to see all the weird and illegal shit. Well, that was until I joined in on a stream. From what I could tell, it was an auction. And as I joined, I saw the face of a person alongside some info about them, like their name, age, location, health, and credit score. How they managed to get this info was beyond me. I was tempted to chat, but I realized that there was no chat, only bidding channels. Probably for the best, as I shouldn't be talking here. So I'm not sure what the bidding was for, but I could tell that it was for this person. Maybe their info? I looked at the tag for the health and thought again. I don't think it was an organ trade either, from what I could tell, because the credit score doesn't matter in terms of how good your kidneys are. The person in question was a middle-aged woman, a little bit on the chubby and wrinkly side. Decent credit, but not too good health-wise. And her name was Karen Waller, age 47, from Minnesota. I looked at the bids and they were in the thousands. Definitely not just for their info. The prices were pretty high, and at the bid of $28,000, the woman was sold. The announcer thanked all of the bidders and announced the next bid of merchandise to be sold. As I watched the next person for sale, I was surprised. It was my cousin Daniel. He was a freshman in university. How the hell did his name end up here? I stared in shock by the revelation, only to be woken from my thoughts by a notification. The bidding has started. $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, $15,000. I looked for my card, hoping to outbid everyone to keep my cousin safe. But as the bidding increased, it went out of my price range. Even if I start selling my belongings and I took a loan, I'm not sure if I could outbid them. The bidding started to slow down at $30,000, and I could feel my heartbeat as each new bid slowly came up. I watched in horror as it went to $32,000, $33,000, $35,000, and then it climbed to $37,000. The auctioneer waited for more bids as my heart hammered in my chest. Going once? My God, this was it. Going twice. My cousin, who I've known since he was a baby, gone, and I could feel tears streaming down my face as the auctioneer yelled, "Sold!" with a gleeful tone, as if he wasn't profiting off the despair and pain of others. What kind of sick person was he? Disgusted and scared, I clicked off the site and I called my cousin. It was 3 a.m. at that point, but I didn't care. I just needed to hear his voice and know he was okay. I called, and I heard the tone ringing. Once, twice, 3 times, nothing. I let it keep ringing until it reached voicemail. I hung up and I tried again, still no answer. I tried a few more times, getting more panicked with each attempt. I was on the verge of tears as the tone rang again, but this time, I was met with an answer. Hello? It was my cousin. He sounded both tired and grumpy. What's the matter? I was choking on my words between the hurricane of emotions and being unsure of what to say. I couldn't form a proper sentence. But I pushed on, and I had to at least warn him about what I saw. My cousin, hearing my sobs, asked if I was okay. I couldn't explain to him what it was, but I did warn him to be careful and ask if he was okay. But I made him promise that he would be careful. I wish I did more. I should have done more. And 2 weeks after that, my cousin went missing and presumed dead. It's been 2 years. I still don't know what the auction was about, but I know that it costed me my cousin. I will never go back onto the dark web again. I'll be haunted by what I saw on it for the rest of my life. I used to go onto the dark web a few years back just for the thrill of it. I didn't really do anything on there. Just being on it made me feel like I was in on a secret. After all, it was a place where nothing was off the table, no matter how illegal it normally is. But after a week or two, the initial thrill of it wore off, and my curiosity started to outgrow my sense of caution. I began peeking into websites and links to really see what was out there. Of course, I used a VPN and other security measures to keep myself as safe as I could. But I was aware of the risk of snooping around the dark web. Or, at least, I thought I knew the risk. The threat of my information being leaked or my computer getting hacked was always something I knew could happen. But I never really thought about other ways the dark web can mess with you. Over the few days of me looking around, I came across a stream of a guy sitting in a chair with another dude behind him. The camera cut out at about the torso of the standing guy, so we really couldn't see his face. The guy who was sitting had grayish-brown hair, an unkempt beard, and looked severely underweight. You could almost see his skeletal structure because of how thin he was. I thought that the stream was just odd, and I was about to leave when there was a super chat. It was $200 with a message and just an emoji of a gun. Confused, I looked at the chat and it was mostly incoherent. A lot of it wasn't in English, but what I could understand is that they were all talking about weapons. I noticed a poll that had 4 options: assault rifle, axe, spike bat, and electric chair. Electric chair? That's not a weapon, I thought to myself. And at that moment, I realized what this stream was truly about and what the super chats actually were. Those weren't super chats, they were bits, and that poll wasn't just for conversation. These people were bidding on how to end this man's life. I was hit with a wave of emotions: fear, disgust, morbid curiosity, and then guilt. Alongside them was the overwhelming desire to leave. And just then, the bidding had reached its end. Axe was the winning choice, as the man in the background moved to get the axe. I hovered my mouse over the X button to get out of there. And just as I was about to leave, a large wood axe came onto the screen. I looked at it in horror as it was hefted into the air, and I clicked the X just as he brought the axe down towards his head. And for a brief moment, it was 1/10 of a second long, but it will replay in my mind till I die. In the few frames between when I clicked the X button and when the browser closed, I saw it. The axe cleaving into the man's head, the blood coming out of his skull, and the facial expression he had as he died. I saw it all, and I'll never stop seeing it in my mind. Every time that I closed my eyes, I saw something normal people were never meant to see, and it scarred me for life. Don't end up like me. Don't go poking around on the dark web. This happened a few years ago. It was a weekend, so I thought I'd catch up on playing League of Legends since I was too busy to play that week. It was going poorly and we were getting our ass kicked. On top of it all, our Draven was super toxic the entire game. After losing, he continued to berate everyone in the post-game chat. Well, that was when I had enough of it, and I told him to shut up, because he was just being an asshole. He was silent for a few minutes, so I assumed that it had worked. However, just as I was about to queue up for another match, he replied again in the chat box. His reply was my address. With his threat understood, I backed off, not wanting to mess with him at that point. However, I wasn't a stranger to hackers. I frequented the dark web and had a few friends on there. So I screenshotted his name and ID, and I popped onto the dark web to see if I could get a little payback. I then checked in with one of my acquaintances, a hacker that went by the handle of Jericho. I sent him a message saying hi and that I wanted a favor from him. Jericho isn't the type of person to beat around the bush or make some small talk. So if you want something from him, it's best to spit it out from the get-go. What do you need? His reply was within minutes of my message. Well, I told him the situation and about how I wanted to get back at him. Maybe just scare him a bit by doing the same thing he did to me, I suggested. Freaking him out the same way he threatened me sounded like good karma in my books. All right, Jericho responded. I'm pretty sure I can do that. What's his ID? I showed him the screenshot. ICP fan, number NA9. There was a long pause before Jericho's next message. Interesting. What? I asked curiously. That's not a normal ID. There's usually a long string of letters and numbers. Is that bad? I replied, a little bit nervous. Probably not. If anything, he might be a dev, but I can still do it. I smiled to myself. Thanks, man. How much is it gonna cost me? I'll do it for 100. Deal? I winced. I seriously doubted that it was a fair price, but I have already gone far at this point, and I certainly wasn't going to piss Jericho off by haggling or calling things off. So I agreed, whilst I mourned for my wallet. With the transactions done, Jericho told me that he would have it done by tomorrow, and that he would take a short screen capture video of it so I can see the proof. And then he logged off for the night. I woke up the next morning feeling tired, probably due to staying up late on the dark web, but I didn't mind if it meant that that asshole was getting the scare of his life. After a long day at work, I came home to check my messages and see if Jericho sent the video yet. Nothing so far. Thinking nothing of it, just that he was taking his time, and I just went on about my day. Later that night, I checked again. Nothing. At this point, I was wondering what took him so long. So I sent him a message asking about his progress with the job. No reply. At this point, I was starting to get annoyed. Did he scam me? Did he just take my 100 and then disappear? It's the dark web, so it's not like I could do anything about it. I kept telling myself otherwise, trying to remain calm. Jericho wasn't that type of guy. Was he, though? I'd known him for what? A month? Via chatting anonymously on the dark web. But what did I really know about him? I watched as the time passed. Soon it reached midnight. Jericho missed his deadline, and just as I was about to close my laptop in frustration for being so stupid, I got a notification. A message from Jericho. I checked to see, and it was a 2-minute video. I smiled. I guess he didn't rip me off after all. I thought as I clicked on the video. And this clip was $100, so I'm gonna do my best to enjoy it. Or so I thought. The video was of a man tied up to a chair. He looked bloody and bruised, surrounded by men with ski masks. A paper was taped to the bleeding man's chest with the name Jericho on it. "Hey, asshole," one of the masked men said. I gasped in horror, putting 2 and 2 together. "Let this be a lesson to you." He raised what looked like to be a gun to Jericho's head. "Don't mess with ICP, fan." And with that, the gun went off. I didn't see a bullet, but I saw parts of Jericho's head being splattered on the other side of the gun alongside the bang. And with that, the men just left, leaving nothing but the corpse of the man that I hired sitting in its chair. The rest of the video was just that. After what felt like eons, the video ended. I just stared at the blank screen, the replay button in the center terrorizing me. And the screen finally turned off. This was enough to snap me out of my trance. I had just witnessed the man die. No, it was worse than that. I sent that man to his death. I then thought again about the warning from the ski man people. I don't know who ICP fan is, but I want nothing to do with them or the dark web ever again. I also stopped playing League of Legends after that too, but I wanted to get back into it after writing this, but it appears that my account has been perma-banned. And here's the riddle for this video. Hello everyone, it's your creepy sister here. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate each and every one of you. But I would also like to thank my amazing patrons, my top tippers, and my dearest channel members. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it with all of my heart. If you want to support the channel further, you could also choose to become a patron, a tipper, or a channel member. But remember, it's appreciated, but never a requirement. I would also like to announce that we have merch now. The link is in the description of the video, along with all my other social media links, like my Discord server, Twitter, Instagram, and others. You can connect with me and send your stories there. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and comments are highly appreciated. And remember, your fear feeds me.